But there was also a lot of silence around that sexism and misogyny. I mean, you know, and like the documentary on RKelly. Why is that silence, you think?
It's called money. The love of money is the root of all evil. And that's just the reality of it. You know, people saw R. Kelly as a cash cow, and they didn't want to give up the cash. So they ignored what was going on. And he's not the first, and he won't be the last. Whenever there's money involved and people are greedy and they want to make money, and they learn to look the other way on a lot of things. You know, I haven't listened to his music since I saw that tape, because it was clear to me. And I'm like, damn, you just messed up my whole catalog, man. I used to really enjoy some R. Kelly music. He makes great records. Nobody could take that away from him. But
So you talk about our complicity, you know, in being seduced with the money and the power that people sow things and state silence.
I mean, and people love who they love, and they don't want to. Sometimes people don't want to look at the realities of certain things, and we all want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I know, especially in our community, where we have seen our people railroaded so much, you know, that anytime one of us does not have to be railroaded, it's a win for everybody in a certain way, you know. But you know, what's real is what's real. What's the truth is what's the truth.
Hello, world. Welcome. I am Goddess Dawn. It's Saturday, March 16th, 2019, and I'm back again today to talk to you about Robert Sylvester Kelly. I liked what Queen Latifah said. I think it sums it all up for a lot of us. I'm just going to bring some things together and then leave you with something that is very interesting and entertaining. Before we get into this, I want to address some of the claims of bashing and railroading of the Black man, or being overly opinionated by the P-hivers who decide to, come and shit in my comments. Sorry, Mom. Anyone who saw the documentaries, read any news articles, which some have court documents that are included, and court documents are public information also. And just if you're following the saga as it unfolds, I think it's been made clear that Robert Kelly is a pretty bad man who chooses to manipulate young girls into becoming his sex slaves. I mean, that's just really what it's boiled down to at this point. Let's let Jay-Z give us his thoughts on R. Kelly, the man.
Welcome to the best of both worlds.
Like, does he know where he's at? This is the garden.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So at what point did, because people gave him love when he was performing?
Yeah, but that's the problem. We even have good shows. But if I get love, like if people give me love, he has a problem with that. Like his ego cannot take that.
That's the man.
Have you tried to
talk to him about it?
Of course. And I've talked to him like a real dude, because he's not used to having real dudes. Like, yo, dude, you're ruining yourself. You know, I don't work for you, B. You know what I'm saying? I don't work for you, nor am I under you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a bad dude myself.
And what's his reaction to that? Like,
man, my lights. I said, no, it wasn't your lights. It was just because his first two shows was horrible. I was like, is your lineup, B? Change your lineup. Mm-hmm. And he changed the lineup when we started having good shows for a while, and then back into this.
Like that, just like as blunt like that, you told him?
Oh, yeah, I'm a real dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a real dude.
But did you tell him about the ego thing? Did you talk to him about that?
Yeah. I mean, this is my word.
Did he ever honestly
this is my
say
word.
that?
Of course, he's not gonna say that. He's not gonna cop to that. This is my word. B, the best of both worlds is about you doing the best of what you do, and I do the best of what I do.
So what happens after? Like, what did he do after? He just broke out and left? Did you get a chance to see him or talk to him?
Of course, I didn't speak to him.
Did anybody try to change his mind? Did anybody try to tell him?
No, everybody's sick of chasing him and running behind him, and nobody's on his time. That's the problem. He has so many people around that just on his time and, kiss up to him. And these guys even scared to talk to him. They don't even speak to this guy. They're ruining him. He's ruining himself. He's cocooned himself into a world where he's the biggest guy in the room all the time. You can't even speak to this guy.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That's so not healthy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Damn, Jay. So what's the future? Oh, man. Damn. There's no way possible that this is going to be fixed. And you
I can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. I mean, enough. I can't do it.
So yeah, as you guys know, R. Kelly and Jay-Z did that collab, Best of Both Worlds. It didn't pan out too well. There were issues, and then when they finally were set to release the album and go on tour, the allegations came down on Robert Kelly for that child porn case that he caught. So as time went on, another collaboration took place, Unfinished Business. Jay-Z invited him back on tour and for another collab. Why is questionable. I guess it was just about the money, as Queen stated earlier. But that collab went left and resulted in a lawsuit by R. Kelly after he was pepper sprayed backstage, allegedly by one of Jay-Z's right hands, Ty Ty.
What a night, man. RKelly just came in. He just sat down. He's got glasses on. Is the camera on? Is this your people? You want to? Okay. You need headphones? Put them on. You okay? Good. We're hearing rumors that like a hospital. You in the hospital or something? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man. This got sprayed with some pepper spray in my eyes. I had to go to the hospital to get it drained or something.
So R. Kelly, he's the type of guy who you just can't trust. He lies, he manipulates, he takes these young girls and he steals their lives. They have dreams, they have goals, but then by the time he gets his hands on them, they belong to him. They're his property, and it seems they can't move about on their own. They need him for every single move. Like everyone, those girls had problems also. But R. Kelly took advantage of those vulnerabilities, and they weren't mature enough to be able to combat his manipulations and be able to see through, the jive he talks. That's why he won't deal with older women who are mature and wise, because he can't. So, that's what happens when you do things at an early age, whether sex, drugs, anything that, is going to have an impact on your development, your mental development, your psyche. And being that he had a trauma at a young age, a continued trauma, from what I understand, it had affected his growth. He stunted. I think it started when he was 8 years old. It's reported. But whatever the case, he's a young-minded person. So he's young-minded, but he's also an old perv. Let's not get it twisted. So we're going to just sum up where we're at to this point with Robert Kelly and the continued unfolding saga. For more than 20 years, best-selling R&B artist R. Kelly has been dodging accusations of sexual misconduct ranging from child pornography to underage sex. In 2008, Kelly was acquitted in one trial, which he had alleged to have sex and urinated on a 13-year-old. He's also paid monetary settlements to several women who have accused him of both sexual and physical abuse. And this is coming from vulture.com. We know that currently Kelly is being charged with 10 counts of felony sexual abuse in Illinois. In addition to these charges, he's also facing additional allegations that range from sexual assault in 3 other states to kidnapping and illegal transport of underage girls to threatening accusers and financial crimes. The Department of Homeland Security, FBI, and IRS are also reportedly investigating claims against Kelly that could lead to grand juries in several states, including possible federal charges. Chicago police have also passed along information to Detroit police of another woman whom Kelly allegedly sexually assaulted in 2001 when she was 13 years old. She claims to have had sex with R. Kelly in a hotel and a recording studio, having made contact with the singer through his personal assistant. Later, the girl allegedly traveled to Atlanta and stayed with R. Kelly. It is being said that the 13 or 14-year-old girl in the original tape where he faced a jury is one of the plaintiffs in the 10-count indictment handed down in Cook County, Illinois, earlier this month. But we also know with all of these things, he just spent a second stint in jail in Cook County, Illinois. And this is within just a 2-week period. He was rearrested for the back child support he owed of more than $160,000. He stayed in jail a couple nights, and supposedly a anonymous benefactor bailed him out of that by paying the back child support. We don't know, because the child support case was closed to the public, who exactly made that bail. Rumors are that the fans raised the money. It had been reported that the fans were sending money as well as visit requests to the jail. There's a man also who supposedly found a third tape in his attic, I believe. The tape is supposedly of RKelly having sex with a minor or several, from what the man said at the press conference. I'm not sure how valid that claim is regarding that tape, or even what his real intent is, which I don't really think matters. I think the evidence is what that is, and that's all really that is important. How it got there and who got it there is irrelevant if it is valid information, and valid if the technology is definitely not compromised and real. So there's that, and then we have the new accuser coming out with allegations about sexual abuse, which they seem to be coming out of the woodwork. And I do encourage anybody to come out, even though some of these things I'm reading about seem to be people who have encountered him and they are wanting to, come forward and put themselves in the pool for a possible payout. And with that being said, you can't take those people and wipe out and negate everything else that's coming forth that is valid. So with that, you just have to, shrug those off and dismiss those, and focus on what's real and what's actually accurate. And that is what court will hopefully sort out once this case actually moves forward to that point. Then we have attorney Michael Avenatti, who spoke to the media about girls telling him they made suicidal pacts with RKelly in the past, which prompted someone to make a 911 call to the Chicago police with a false report that forced police to do a wellness check at RKelly's condo. Turned out, like I said, to be a false alarm, meaning the call itself was a false alarm, or not necessarily the pact. So because the call was a false alarm does not mean that there was or is not a pact in place. So that's what I wanted to say, because it seems that I'm reading and seeing different videos about it, and they're negating the whole pact itself because of the false call. Then there's Dominique Gardner, who has been in the blogs denying her mother's authenticity, in other words, just calling her mom a liar. This was leaked, though, after her mother interviewed with CBS This Morning, which is the follow-up to RKelly's disastrous Gayle King interview. The mom is on there speaking for Dominique, stating that Dominique is getting therapy, working a regular job. I'm understanding she works at a movie theater. I'm not sure if that's still the case or if it ever was the case. And also trying to heal and get her life on track. These are the things that her mom seems to come out with every now and then. There's also an article in the New Yorker. The article in the New Yorker is said to be directly with Dominique. And this was also released prior to Dominique's video that came out of bashing her mother. So that video was actually a follow-up to these videos that came out with her mother saying these things. But the article in the New Yorker, it reveals that RKelly tried to break her. And this is a quote from Dominique. And the article goes on to say how he did certain things that were not okay, as far as withholding food, and having to okay her every move, hitting, beating her, pulling her hair out in patches because she didn't agree, or she came at him a certain way that he didn't like, felt disrespected. And the bottom line is that that's abuse. It seems that she also, in the article, felt that he needs more therapy and psychological help rather than jail. She doesn't seem to be convinced that he's a criminal. She denies some of the things, or I won't say that. She's saying that some of the things that are being reported as far as her being brainwashed and things of that nature are not true. So even though she did say, yes, he abused and he was controlling and that and this, she's also at the same time saying, well, he just needs help and he was abused himself, and, making excuses for him, which people seem to do, I feel. But especially someone like her, who in essence was brainwashed or is still seemingly brainwashed, and is still defending him, or, not wanting to put out there that he is actually a monster.
I'm just tired of the lies. I just want everybody to know the truth. And there you have it. That's the truth, spoken from Dominique Gardner. Don't believe anything else no one say. Like, oh, Dominique said this, I heard Dominique said that. No. What you're hearing right now is what Dominique said, so let that be known. I'm not held captive, I'm free, just like you all. So, she wanted me to do an interview going against RKelly, like playing a victim, like I actually escaped. No, I left the hotel because she lied, telling me she has an illness. I was concerned. What daughter wouldn't be about their mother? But she only did that just to get a footage that's not going to even be aired because you didn't get my consent. You tricked me to being on camera. Like, who does that? Like, it's crazy.
I feel that was when she was with RKelly, and that was his way of defending himself, because he knew that the Lifetime documentary was being filmed at the time. This supposedly happened right after the scene in the Lifetime docuseries where Dominique's mother, quote unquote, rescued her from the hotel. According to Dominique's video, which I'll put up here, she states that her mother did that for the camera, that she knew she was there the whole time. And the reason that she reacted the way she did for her mother were because of the cameras. And she was shocked about the cameras. Her mother, she said, had said she was ill and that she needed to see Dominique. And she told her, of course, she's my mother. I'm going to go see about her. But the whole rescue thing, she said, was staged. She said it was staged for the docuseries. But keep in mind, while she's saying this, she's in RKelly's home. She hadn't left yet. When she left with her mother in that whole rescue scene, she did go home, but she left after about 3 days and stayed with RKelly after, I would say, about 8 days, until she did finally go back home, where she still is now to this day. And it's been, I think, 9 or 10 months since that initial situation on camera. But it's very obvious to me that that's an old video stating she's a liar, and that's something that RKelly probably made her do because of the whole thing with the Lifetime series. He found out about it and freaked out. He tried to block the series, and even in her video, she stated that there's a documentary they're trying to put out. She basically made it seem like she didn't believe it would come out because there was legally going to be a block on that, but that didn't happen, as we see, and here we are talking about it today. She's still with her mom now. I mean, the claims of her mom being a gold digger and those things, I don't know about. There are certain blogs and Instagram pages. Shout out to Pedophile Assistance and Enablers 2.0, and there's a couple other ones that Mr. Mute RKelly also. Shout out to these Instagram pages. They really stay on top of the case and the situation. And it would benefit you, if you're interested in this whole saga, to go on and check them out also. Next, we have Joycelyn.Savage. She made the strange phone call to her mom after the parents pleaded to her in a press conference following RKelly's video with Gayle King. And she, to me, sounded like she was afraid. I mean, people say she sounded robotic. Some people say she just sounded fed up about her parents making things public and embarrassing her, which I could see that too, if it is actually nothing happening, which is not the case. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, as a young woman, I could see your parents being in the press about your love life is embarrassing. The only reason, obviously, that it's a thing is because it is a thing. There are real things happening behind the scenes over there, and they're spilling out all over the place. There was that phone call to the mom, and the sisters were there, and she kept saying that she's fine and she's happy, and she just wants them to leave her alone. And this is right after the interview aired with RKelly and Gayle King, and it sounded to me that somebody got in her ear that you need to shut your parents up because you're killing me here. And we have to admit that if not for the Savages and the Clarys or Azriel's parents, that, and aside from just the documentary, after that, keeping the dust kicked up and keeping things swirling, keeping things in the media, because it really adds to all of the sensation and keeping things in the air about the situation, which is helpful to them because of the sensationalism of it. The press is going to keep picking up all the little things he's doing because it gets numbers. Just like we get numbers on YouTube, it's very obvious that the Robert Kelly stories do bring the viewers. So I'm not going to deny that, but it is something that is of interest to me. Anything in our community is of interest to me. Anything regarding abuse of young Black girls and Black women in general, and women, I would say, but first and foremost, my sisters, my queens, is important to me. So you're gonna see that here, and that's my perspective, and that's where I stand on these type of things. There are so many things coming out. I mean, every day there's something new. Some things are valid and accurate, and some things are not. And I say valid and accurate, meaning, there are things that are coming forth with regard to evidence. I don't know how this stuff is going to affect the future case, but I don't know who's leaking information. We have audio with Joycelyn with claims of abuse and manipulation. And so I don't know. I feel like some people are definitely setting themselves up so that they are not being held accountable when it comes to enablers or people who were actually doing illegal things under RKelly's umbrella or tutelage. And let's not forget Andrea Kelly. She had been pretty quiet after that interview aired, but little things are coming out. She's basically stating that she still wants her kids to have a relationship with him. I mean, she's open and she's stating publicly that she's not blocking him from seeing his kids, and this is because he said that because he's not able to pay her, that she's bashing him in the press and to the kids and brainwashing the kids. Funny how he's saying that she's brainwashing the kids when he in actuality is the one doing all the brainwashing. But she also, I noticed, is doing volunteer work. She's in the press with some type of volunteer work with regard to victims of abuse. So it looks like she's using, her visibility to help other people, which, either whether it's sincere or not, it will benefit those people. And whatever she gets karmically, that's going to be on her. We also have to put a spotlight on the Chicago Police Department. They have been very complicit over the years with regard to Robert Kelly and not taking any type of action, not any type of momentum with regard to the allegations and things that were brought to them. I noticed some things are coming to light that were reported previously, but nothing had been done with this stuff. They just get the information, they put it in a drawer somewhere or file somewhere. And then, once things are popping off, they want to come forward with, oh, well, here's someone you might want to talk to. Well, what happened to following up with somebody who is reporting a crime? People are being victimized out here, and we really don't have a lot of people, some of us, to look to with regard to justice. You can always go the street justice route, but then you have to think about what's going to happen at the end of that. People were, telling Angelo Clary on these interviews that, why hadn't you just bust down the door with some guns and some goons? And, he let people know that obviously that would be something I would do first and foremost when it comes to the safety of my daughter and her well-being. But You have to think about it. What about when I go to jail for that? Where is she going to be then? She won't have me there to protect her at that point. So it will be done for naught, right? For no reason, because it would just, her life probably will revert right back. It will be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. Speaking of that, the judge has just issued the okay for cameras to be in the courtroom for the criminal trial. And that's going to be a mad circus. But I'm glad for it and I'm here for it because we want to keep our eye on this. And what better way than to have cameras in the courtroom? So we'll see what happens. And I'm just going to keep updating you. I'm not going to probably be here with every little thing because I'm so busy with my life. But I love doing this. I'm very interested in this case. But I'm going to leave you here with this body language video. And actually has some other interesting things that this guy put together in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much, as always, for being here. I appreciate you so much. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment before you go. All right, and I'm out. Till next time. Peace.
Derek Van Shake here. R. Kelly is the music artist famous for many R&B hits, including I Believe I Can Fly.
I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky.
In the past, R. Kelly has been accused of assault against women and young girls. A recent documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, featured many women who claimed they've been physically, mentally, verbally, and sexually assaulted for years by the music star. However, R. Kelly denies all of it. So let's analyze R. Kelly's body language and the evidence during this explosive interview to determine if he's guilty. Now, let's get started.
The 6-part series interviewed 50 people, family members, your former tour manager, numerous women who all claim that you abused them. Yeah. Are you saying everybody in that documentary was not telling the truth about you? Everybody?
Gayle King asks a very specific question. It's a yes or a no. Listen to what he says and how he says it.
If you really look at that documentary, which I'm sure you have.
I have.
R. Kelly starts out with an out-of-character stutter, which indicates nervousness and apprehension, very typical of lying. And then notice what he says.
Everybody said something bad about me. Nobody said nothing good. They was describing Lucifer. I'm not Lucifer.
He doesn't directly answer the question, but he gives this indirect roundabout answer. Throughout this interview, we'll notice him diverting and avoiding directly answering questions.
I'm a man. I make mistakes, but I'm not a devil. And by no means am I a monster.
I'm going to name the names. RKelly, your ex-wife.
Here I am as principal dancer, choreographer, on stage, right next to him. And people have no idea that this man just beat me on the bus. People have no idea of the bruises I'm hiding.
Kitty Jones.
I don't even know if I want an apology. I wouldn't even feel it was real. I just think he's numb to people's feelings.
Lisa Van Allen.
The threesomes became more frequent once it happened with the girl that was 14. In the beginning, when I was 17, he told me she was 16.
Lisette Martinez.
I'd just like you to know that you really hurt me. I was a little girl in like a bad man's world. Why you would want to hurt so many women?
Geronda Pace. Faith Rogers.
Did you want to have sex with him?
No. He has this type of like intimidation right off the bat, you know? So I was just waiting for it to be over.
Suing R. Kelly for sexual battery and willfully, deliberately, and maliciously infecting her with herpes. And she claims Kelly mentally, sexually, and verbally abused her.
Asante McGee.
I told her to pretend like she was Uber because security is at the end of the driveway. And that's where a lot of people think we could just freely walk out. We cannot. There's a car parked with 2 armed securities at the end of this driveway. You cannot go in or out.
You're saying everything they said in that documentary about you is not true.
They are lying on me.
Why would these women say the same thing about you? That you are controlling, that you are abusive, that you tell women when to eat, when to go to the bathroom, when they can sleep, where they can dress.
One of them said, oh, I thought it was going to be this lavish lifestyle with this R&B star. No, they have to knock to get out of their room. They have to wear baggy clothes so nobody can see their curves. They have to look down at the floor.
What would set him off? It could be anything from the milk being too cold to not cold enough for breakfast. It could be what I was wearing. It's too revealing, you know, not to wear it. It could be if someone came to our house and I spoke, he would really like, why are you talking to him? You should be looking at your feet.
And they have been trained like pets. If these women he's got now are brainwashed, Stockholm Syndrome, they're never going to reveal what's happening.
And we're in a relationship with him.
Right.
You just said it.
A very strong relationship as
both
well.
of you.
Yes, most definitely.
He's got a whole group around him called runners that do all his bidding. They're the ones that enforce his laws, his rules on these young ladies. And remember, some of them are at age now, and they're still in there. The law can't touch it.
Why would all these women tell these different stories about you if they were not true? And they don't know each other. That defies logic to me.
Right. Until you hear the explanation. You can start a rumor on a guy like me or a celebrity just like that. All you have to do is push a button on your phone and say, so-and-so did this to me. RKelly did this to me. And if you get any traction from that, if you're able to write a book from that, if you're able to get a reality show, then any girl that I had a relationship in the past that it just didn't work out, she can come and say the same exact thing.
Some of the things she had described in detail, I had been through, I mean, verbatim.
I see.
Wow. And it was just something about that pierced my spirit, that I was like, if no one else is going to speak up for her, if no one else is going to believe her, at least she knows that I do.
Have you ever had sex with anyone under the age of 17?
No.
Did you catch his lying body language? See if you can pick it out for yourself. Watch again.
Have you ever had sex with anyone under the age of 17?
No.
He first starts out with a head shake and then starts swirling his head in a head nod, confirming that he actually did. That roundabout head nod is incongruent with his no.
Under the age of 17.
No.
Also, did you notice his right toe starts to point up? This is what's called defying gravity. We do these defying gravity gestures when something excites us, which includes the adrenaline of lying. He then continues his incongruent head nod with his no answer. Watch.
Never.
No.
In 1994, 27-year-old RKelly allegedly marries 15-year-old singer Aaliyah in a secret ceremony. The marriage is reportedly annulled less than a year later. In 2008, RKelly stands trial for 14 counts of child pornography related to sexually explicit photos and a video of an allegedly underage girl. In sum, he's accused of performing disturbing acts.
I have to tell you, it's so hard to believe that based on all that we've read
I'm gonna tell
and
you
what the
something,
women
Gayle.
have
There's
said
one
about you.
I'm
What the women have said about you.
What women said about me. What women. So nobody's allowed to be mad at me and be scorned and lie on me.
So they're lying on you. That's your explanation. They're lying on you.
Absolutely.
RKelly says absolutely and gives a head shake implying no. His body language with that head shake is incongruent with his words, implying he doesn't actually believe they're lying. Now, RKelly looks down and points his finger up like he's about to say something to make a point. But watch what he does next.
Absolutely.
Instead of making the point, he transitions it to cover his face. But when he reveals his face, we find out why he decided to not make the point and cover his face instead. Watch.
Absolutely.
He was about to laugh when he was going to make that likely bogus point, so he covered his face to distract himself and also cover his smile. Take a look at that whole part uninterrupted.
So they're lying on you. That's your explanation. They're lying on you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think the point you're making is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you have never held anybody against their will.
That's a question that can be answered with a simple yes or no. But listen to his answer.
I don't need to. Why would I?
He actually doesn't deny it. Saying you don't need to do something doesn't mean you didn't do it.
Well,
how stupid would it be for RKelly, with all I've been through in my way, way past, to hold somebody, let alone 4, 5, 6, 50, you said.
Now he transitions to sensationalism to make the charges seem outrageous. This is a spin that the liar may do to reframe the allegations to make them seem bogus.
Why? How stupid would I be to do that?
I didn't say you were holding.
That's stupid, guys.
I didn't.
Is this camera on me?
Yes, it's on.
That's stupid.
And just because something is stupid to do doesn't mean you didn't do it. He was so caught up in all that diverting, he forgot to deny the allegations against him. An innocent person would make sure that it was very clear the allegations are false.
Use your common sense. Don't forget the blogs. Forget how you feel about me. Hate me if you want to, love me if you want, but just use your common sense. How stupid would it be for me to, with my crazy past and what I've been through, right now I just think I need to be a monster and hold girls against their will, chain them up in my basement and don't let them eat and don't let them out unless they need some shoes down the street from their uncle.
RKelly continues sensationalizing the allegations in hopes of making it all seem ridiculous. Of course, if you sensationalize or exaggerate anything, you could make anything seem bogus.
Stop it. Y'all quit playing. Quit playing. I didn't do this stuff.
And all of a sudden, his demeanor changes.
This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
And I used to know it was something in me that's like, here we go.
Y'all killing me with...
He just switched. I'm sitting with the monster now.
This I gave y'all 30 years of my career.
His eyes would change.
Robert.
30 years of my career.
And his body, his posture would change.
Y'all trying to kill me? You killing me, man? This is not about music.
He now does this whole yelling fit because clearly this is how he handles stressful situations. The fact that he could not contain himself during a nationally televised interview says a lot about his temperament at home. If this is how he acts in front of tens of millions of people, just imagine how he acts in front of people he feels most comfortable around.
I'm trying to have a relationship with my kids, and I can't do it. Y'all just don't want to believe the truth.
Did you notice all his physical gyrating? This all shows how physical he is in his normal life. Someone who gets angry physically by hitting their chest, punching into their hands, punching walls, or breaking things are much more likely to physically assault others than someone who doesn't show anger with their physical strength.
You don't want to believe it.
At this point, we briefly pause the interview to give Kelly a moment. His publicist helped calm him down.
The realization that these allegations could send him to prison for the rest of his life is setting in. He's scared, and this is when he really begins to play the victim card.
I hope this camera keep going.
No, we're going to let the camera keep rolling.
This is not, doesn't even make sense. Why would I hold all these women? Their mothers and fathers told me, we're going to destroy your career.
Liars sometimes play the victim card to turn the conversation so they aren't on the defensive and having to do all the risky maneuvering to defend their lie.
Kelly's emotions remained raw.
It's real girls out there missing.
Arms wide to demonstrate that there's a big problem that needs attention. Of course, this is all to divert attention away from what he's being accused of.
It's real young girls out there being abducted, being raped, okay? They really are on chains. They really do have chains on their wrists and they can't get out.
Now seems to actually be making the point that what he has done and is doing to women isn't as bad as what some others are doing because his girls aren't in chains.
Robert,
and they're ending up buried in deep.
Robert, we have to have a conversation. Really, I don't want you just ranting at the camera.
I came here for them to hear me talk.
But
I need help.
Oh, maybe RKelly will admit to something?
What kind of help?
This is the kind of help I need.
Yes, what kind of help?
I need somebody to help me not have a big heart.
Yep, it's the classic, I'm the complete opposite of the accusations defense.
Because my heart is so big. People betray me, and I keep forgiving them.
RKelly seems to be thinking of and referring to women while punching into his hand, clearly implying that's what he wants to do to them. All these women are coming after poor RKelly because he's so nice. They're just taking advantage of him. When there's that many legitimate accusers, there's usually at least a shred of truth. But the fact that he's not admitting to anything makes him come across as even more guilty.
You sound like you're playing the victim here. You sound like RKelly, you do. When I listen to you, it does sound like you're playing the victim card.
I'm just telling the truth.
What is your financial situation, if you don't mind saying?
Here's the deal. So many people have been stealing my money.
He can't even say that with a straight face. He's lying. How much smiling would you do if you felt many people were stealing your money and you're now broke? That would not be anything to smile about.
Did you ever see him having any type or talking about financial issues?
No.
Because they're saying he only has $350,000 in the bank.
He would carry a Louis book sack full of money.
People was connected to my account. I went by myself for the first time to Bank of America. Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know what the hell was going on.
There's so much duping smile this whole time when he's talking about money.
When did you do that? First time by yourself?
About 3 weeks ago to a month.
3 weeks ago was the first time you went to Bank of America?
Absolutely.
By yourself?
By myself. How can I pay child support? How? If my ex-wife is destroying my name and I can't work, how can I work? How can I get paid? How can I take care of my kids? How?
More playing the victim to divert away from the accusations.
And then he would fake cry. And of course, I believed him.
Your ex-wife
Use your common sense.
Your ex-wife says you abused her, Robert.
13 lies.
You just heard Gayle King try to move RKelly back to the accusations, but he quickly goes back to yelling about how he's the real victim. Also, all this yelling on national TV are red flags and indicate the anger problems he has.
When I was pregnant with my first child, he locked me in a bathroom and I slept in a bathtub.
13 years.
Can you imagine what he's like in the privacy of his own home with people he feels comfortable with?
I flew in on a helicopter. Look, man, look. I'm telling y'all, I flew in on a helicopter with a damn puppy.
Why was he yelling about a helicopter? It seemed to be to divert the conversation and to reshape his image as a romantic softie who would never abuse.
Not once have I ever had a domestic violence call at the house and all this, that, and the other. It never happened.
Why is she making that up, Robert?
I'm not disrespecting her by saying she's not telling the truth. I'm just being honest.
Wow, I got RKelly all wrong. He's actually a good guy. He won't even call his ex-wife a liar when he feels she lied about criminal charges against him. Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. This is all done to make himself come across as the good guy, while also avoiding the he said, they said argument, which he'll lose every time.
Somebody sent me something on my phone and it said that I hog-tied her.
And he got really angry with me and he started arguing with me. And I'm like, you know what, I'm fine. I'm not gonna do this with you. I don't wanna argue with you. I don't wanna fight with you. And he was like, you what? And I just remember instantly when he grabbed me and threw me down, I was on my stomach.
I don't know how to hog-tie people.
So I'm trying to fight to get away. So what he did, he grabbed the strap to his robe off of the bed and he had his knee in my back and he took both of my arms behind me, tied them, and then attached my legs to my arms. And he hog-tied me and left me on the side of the bed.
What would I hog-tie?
And I just remember laying on the side of the bed crying like, let me go, just untie me, let me go. And he fell asleep with me on the side of the bed like an animal.
My kids is listening to this, all of this nonsense, and I ain't been able to spend no time with them. This is real. This is not a lie.
There's been times where he's crying and he's telling me about his children, about his ex-wife, comparing himself to Michael Jackson and how the media destroyed him and he felt like that's what was going on in his life.
What kind of woman would tear down a dad who's trying to have a relationship with their kids? You know how many kids need a relationship with their father?
Diverting, crying, and playing victim, he reminds everyone that he's a father and wants a relationship with his kids, but his ex-wife won't allow it. He's apparently doing this to refocus the attention away from him as the bad guy and onto his ex-wife, while also trying to come across as a family man. RKelly was clearly lying through most of this interview. Everyone diverts differently when lying. RKelly's go-to diverting tactics are sensationalizing and playing victim. Clearly he did this interview to try and change public perception, but he made it so much worse. It's much easier to win in a court of law because the burden of proof is on the prosecution. But to win in the court of public opinion, such as with a morning show interview like this, the burden of proof is on him. With R. Kelly losing his temper and showing his aggressive side during this interview, this will all be used in trial against him, which may help possibly send him to prison for the remainder of his life. That aggressive, angry side his victims have been talking about for years was finally revealed in this interview for the world to see. Now, if you think R. Kelly is guilty of these abuse accusations, give this video a thumbs up. If you